Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we're back at the Munich airport, ready to get on a transatlantic flight in Lufthansa's business class. Lufthansa has special check-in areas for first and business class customers in the Munich airport, so we headed there first. The check-in process went very smoothly, and before we knew it, we were on our way to the lounge. There are several different Lufthansa lounges in this airport, including the first class lounges, the senator lounges, and the business class lounges. In the Munich airport, business class customers get access to the business class lounge. This is the business class lounge on the other side of passport control for non-Schengen flights. It's a nice little lounge, very well appointed, and it has plenty of food and drink, as well as some great views outside. The lounge feels very fresh and airy, and it's a really pleasant place to spend a few hours before your flight. Everything here is self-service, but we found that there really weren't that many hot dishes. But there was still plenty enough to satisfy us before our flight. Pretty soon the boarding time was called for our flight, and we started down the very long walk through Terminal 2 to our gate. We did have to go through some extra security, but before we knew it we were walking down the jet bridge onto the plane. The flight today would take us north out of Germany, over the British Isles, across northern Canada, and into Chicago. The flight time today was 9 hours and 50 minutes. Today we were flying in an A340-600 series. This is one of the larger planes in Lufthansa's fleet and typically flies these transatlantic routes. The A340-600 has 8 first-class seats, in addition to 56 business-class seats, 28 premium economy seats, and 189 economy seats. Today we were in seats 12A and 12C. Because of how long this cabin is and the fact that there's a first-class cabin ahead of us, as well as another business-class cabin, we were right over the wing. We got some great views out the windows at these beautiful engines. We settled into our seats, which are typical on Lufthansa flights. They are updating these to make them a little bit more private and in line with what you'd expect on some other carriers. Unfortunately, we got the old ones today. However, the seats were very spacious and very comfortable. There are plenty of different buttons to control your seat, put it in the lie flat position, or just change the lumbar support. Next to the seat, in the center console, is the tray table, but mine was a little bit dirty. Here you can also find your IFE remote. There's also a little cubby to the left side of the seat where the headphones are. Although this cubby was very small as well, and it was difficult to stick my hand in there to get the headphones out. There is some storage available below the TV screen, and there are universal plugs between the seats, which came in handy on this long flight. Unfortunately, there weren't individual air nozzles above the seats, but the climate in the cabin was pretty good today, so we didn't really need them. As we settled into our seats, we enjoyed a pre-departure beverage, champagne of course. We were actually able to get 2 glasses before we took off. The flight attendants were extremely attentive and very proactive on this flight. The headphones don't look like much, but they're actually AKG, noise-canceling headphones. When they're plugged in, they actually do cancel out a lot of the engine noise, as well as a lot of the chatter from the other passengers. We never knew what a game changer these could be, and we were surprised that we hadn't gotten noise-canceling headphones on any other flights to date. While we were sitting waiting to taxi, I decided to check out the IFE. I wanted to know my entertainment options for this long flight. The remote here leaves something to be desired. It actually has a game-like joystick as the cursor. You have to use your thumb to move it around the screen, which was difficult to get used to. However, once you got used to it, it wasn't too bad. There were tons of movies and TV shows available on this system. And the in-flight map was great. You could even do picture-in-picture. Given the orientation of the seats in front of you, your TV screen is a little bit off-center when you're looking straight on. However, you can move this TV screen to be directly in front of you, with just a little push. Eventually, our captain got the all clear, and we started our pushback from the stand. we headed out to the runway and soared into the sunny Bavarian skies. We have to say, this was one of the smoothest takeoffs we've ever experienced, and it wasn't necessarily a calm day outside. Now that we were airborne, it was time to take a look at the menu for the meal today. We would get 2 meal services, one right after takeoff, and then another small lunch right before we land. Today we had a choice between a smoked salmon, veal loin, or carrot appetizer, and then for the mains we could choose between chicken, a halibut dish, or polenta. I decided to go with the veal loin for my appetizer, and it was really good. One thing we noticed on Lufthansa is that the presentation of these meals are always great. They're always colorful and extremely flavorful. I knew we would get another decent meal before landing, so I decided to go with something lighter. So I got the fish dish, and it was delicious. The additional quinoa and sauce made sure that it wasn't too light of a meal. Catherine, on the other hand, went for the salmon appetizer and the polenta main. She said it was really good. For dessert, I got the cheese tray and a small glass of cognac. After dessert, they brought around these little candies, which I'm sorry to say didn't make it to Chicago. Before shutting my eyes for a few hours, I decided to check out the bathroom. The bathroom in the business class cabin is nothing too special, but it was kept very clean, and there were plenty of amenities, including eye masks, earplugs, mouthwashes, and wipes that you could take whenever you needed. We also did get an amenity kit, which was Porsche Design branded. It had everything you would need: dental kit, socks, moisturizers, headphones, and a few other things. To be honest, the bag was the best part of the amenity kit. After resting for a couple hours, we awoke to find that the small meal was being served. It was a smoked salmon fillet with your choice of breads. I decided to get a pretzel along with a regular dinner roll. And of course, a cup of coffee was much needed. Before we knew it, we were flying over the Upper Peninsula of Michigan and Wisconsin. We started our descent and landed in Chicago's O'Hare Airport. As we make our way to the baggage claim in O'Hare, let's take a moment to reflect on what we thought about this flight. First, let's talk about the lounge. The Lufthansa lounges always impress us. It's a really nice place to escape from the hustle and bustle of the airport. The staff is always very nice, and there's always plenty to eat and drink here. There was plenty of seating, and it was a very comfortable place to wait for our flight. We have to give this lounge a 5 out of 5. The only thing that could really make it better is table service or a restaurant like the United Polaris lounges have. Now let's talk about the seat. They're not very private, and the style is very old. A lot of other airlines are moving away from this 222 type of seating, especially in business class. However, the seats were very comfortable. Once we got used to it, the IFE was very easy to use and had plenty of movies and things to watch. The bed in the lie flat position and the pillows and bedding offered were extremely comfortable. The seat was a little bit dirty, so it'll lose a point for that. We would rate these seats a 3 out of 5. It was actually quite a welcome surprise how much more we liked these seats than we thought we would. But at the same time, with the lack of privacy, we just can't give a 4 out of 5. Now let's talk about the food. We've always liked the food on Lufthansa. The portion sizes aren't overly huge, but the food is always very well prepared, and the flavor profiles are always amazing. There's so much flavor packed into these little meals. It kind of surprises us every time. We would have to rate the food a 5 out of 5. So what about the service? The service on this flight was amazing. Our flight attendants were extremely proactive and very nice. We have to give the service on this flight a 5 out of 5. So now let's talk a little bit about the value for money. The journey to buying these tickets was, to be honest, a little bit outside of the ordinary. We had to book these tickets last minute, and by last minute, we mean the day before. By doing this, we didn't want to have to pay through the nose by booking a last minute fare, so we used award points from our United account. The going rate was about 44,000 points plus $120 in taxes and fees. This is fairly normal for a transatlantic flight, and it really isn't too bad compared to other reward programs. However, it got even better, because when we went to check in on Lufthansa's website, we saw that they were offering a fixed price upgrade for only 429 euros. At the time of filming, this is about $475. This means that for a grand total out-of-pocket cost of less than $600, we could get a business class seat. What made this even more amazing was the fact that a one-way economy ticket at this time cost over $1,600. Now, we wouldn't say to count on these deals because, as we said, this was a last-minute booking, and to be honest, they just needed to fill the seats, which is why it was so cheap. The upgrade usually costs a lot more than this. To put it into perspective, a round-trip business class flight on Lufthansa from Munich to Chicago generally costs a little bit closer to $2,500. In general, Lufthansa tends to be a little bit pricier than its competitors. But to be honest, you get a premium product. There are, of course, other options for business class seats that go between Munich and Chicago, but a lot of them will require you to have a layover in between. United and Lufthansa are the only ones that do direct flights. That being said, the value for money is good if you're looking for premium quality and don't mind paying a little bit more for it. Overall, we really enjoyed this flight. We didn't know how we'd like the seats, but they turned out to be great. The food was amazing, the service was impeccable, and it was just overall a great experience. Thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you in the next one.